Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. When you come to the store, you're going to see things that you've probably never seen before unless you've been to a museum. Great items that go back to the Rockney era to the present. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Notre Dame uses an up-tempo offense for Jack Cohn. The offense is productive with Kyron Williams. Defensively, they kept Drake London out of the end zone. They target him a whole bunch, but at the end of the night, Notre Dame comes away with a 31-16 victory over their rival USC.
Yeah, I guess 15 catches on 20 targets, and Brian Kelly said he hurt them once. It's a good point, though, because the plan was don't let Drake London make big plays on us. He got him one double move for 44 yards. I mean, I think I mentioned during the week of preparation that they wouldn't approach it the same way as they did 2 years ago, but they did kind of allow the running game to happen and keep everything in front of them, and it worked out. I mean, no matter how many complaints you have, it's 16, 17 points that USC would have.
Yeah, Keontae Ingram is a good running back, and he gashed them at times. And defensively, there were times where Notre Dame gave in a little bit. But we talked about, after the Virginia Tech game, we talked about 1-2-3 throw with Jack Cohn. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I think the story today was the new approach of Notre Dame's offense. It's clear this is going to be their approach. I like that they're working in Tyler Buckner. Kelly pointed out afterwards, you saw we put him in high leverage situations. It wasn't, remember the beginning of the year, it was, okay, get us out of trouble so we can punt, or so we could just get out of this situation. They were getting him in the red zone. He's going to become a weapon down there. I think the one you'd probably take away for the efficient drives Notre Dame has, you could have had more points in this game. I mean, the missed field goal by Dorr to start the game, but they bounced back from it. They really are a gritty team because they had some things go wrong early. You and I mentioned to each other, what if USC scores this next touchdown? It would have changed the focus of the game, but Notre Dame's defense rose to the occasion when they had to.
We hesitate to say, like, okay, well, the offense has arrived. I think there was a lot of that feeling after the game with Brian Kelly, and I understand why he feels that way. And the offensive line is certainly making progress. They've only had one carry by a running back for lost yardage. They protected Jack Cohn, although a lot of that had to do with up-tempo. But the offensive line with Joe Alt at left tackle and Kristofic at left guard has really provided them with an uptick on the ground and just in general offensively.
You just kind of felt watching there was more push than there had been. It's not like it was noticeable, like, wow, they're really moving them off the ball. But, yeah, one tackle for loss in the last 2 weeks, that's unbelievable for what we saw from Notre Dame in the first 4 games. And you remember Brian Kelly would always say, like, we can't get sacks in previous seasons because the ball comes out too quick. The ball's going to come out quick. Teams aren't going to sack Jack Cohn. I really feel like you made a good point to me during the game. Like, is he changing his throwing motion? I think he's just speeding everything up when you think about it now. But it did look different, and I think it just wasn't elongated and standing tall in the pocket anymore.
Yeah, he was short-arming it, I guess, to get rid of it more quickly. I said, is his arm bothering him? Because it was a different throwing motion. But the offensive line, Brian Kelly talked about being bigger on the left side of the line. And think about the times that Kyron Williams carried the ball, and he was able to hesitate and pick and be patient, like we saw Logan Diggs do on that one carry against Virginia Tech a couple of weeks ago. That is telling you that the offensive line is getting a little bit of push.
And I thought Kelly's best point, and it's why he's a coach and I'm a reporter, is when he mentioned that Jared Patterson can now get to the second level and do what he does best because he's not having to help out the guards with the shade the entire time. So it's these little nuances that are going to help Patterson, their best player, become even a better player. And boy, you never would have thought when the season started Joe Alt and Andrew Kristofic would be the people to solidify something on the offense, but I think that's where we are right now at 6-1.
A young receiver, Lorenzo Styles, most of his work done in the first half, but it was good to see them go to him. And Deion Colsey, that was a really significant third down conversion in the second half.
I did not expect the third. When I saw Colsey in there, I was expecting him just to be spelling Kevin Austin, but Cohen looked for him on third down. That was a nice play. I think Styles gets more and more involved in the offense because he's just more natural out there than some of the guys they have that are upperclassmen at this point.
Well, and they have 5 scholarship receivers that are ready to play. Kyle Hamilton obviously suffered the knee injury. Brian Kelly said no structural damage. He hinted that he would probably be ready next week. We'll see about that. But DJ Brown stepped up big time, just like he did last year when Hamilton got hurt in the North Carolina game. And Brian Kelly had a lot of great things to say about Tariq Bracy, basically coming out saying his most demonstrative, physical, best game in a Notre Dame uniform.
Yeah, defensive game ball, if you didn't see, went to Tariq Bracy. He brought it into the interview room. You can guess who had it on offense, obviously. But Bracy getting the pick against Virginia Tech, and obviously being a major part of this game plan as the nickelback. He knew they were going nickel. They need it, right? I mean, it's people I think are going to bag on Clarence Lewis from afar because of Drake London's numbers, and he was overmatched and he gave up catches. It's not like it wasn't rocket science out there for him.
Yeah.
He's not as good as the guy he was guarding. The guy caught passes, but most of it didn't hurt Notre Dame, and I think the secondary should be commended because Kyle Hamilton went out. It could have gone way downhill after that.
Yeah, and just like North Carolina, I mean, we were amazed last year that it did not.
Well, that shut them down last year.
Yeah, and no Chris Tyree, and we saw the first of Sebo Flemister this season. It wasn't Logan Diggs' night. He didn't have a lot of room to maneuver, but Flemister came in and did a couple things. But at the end of the day, it was Kyron Williams imposing his will and having a little bit more room and the ability to be a little bit patient in picking his spots.
Give him a little rest. 25 carries and 6 catches too. I mean, he's probably going to be doing that the rest of the month, but it would be good if they can get Flemister, Diggs involved. And we heard Audric Estime was in the game. Didn't see that, so maybe they're starting to work towards that. We do think Tyree is going to be out a little while.
Yeah. Next week, North Carolina, they bring a whole bunch of offense and even less defense than USC. Now, Notre Dame left some points out here, obviously. I mean, they should have had 38, maybe in the 40s, but that is now 38 straight games under Brian Kelly when they've scored 30. They have come away a winner, and they did that again tonight. Notre Dame 31, USC 16.